Welcome back. I'm sure it has been a long day, and so we'd like to start with the annual general meeting. Thank you for coming, and we'll share with you actually the results within the results of the elections within the annual general meeting as usual, and then we'll move on to the members' updates. So there are two parts in this afternoon session. So let's bring the call to order. So we start with going over the quorum and the results of the elections. There was a part on the bylaws changes, and that session closes afterwards. Then we start another session where you have the members' update and a chance to ask questions. So, as you know, each full member has one vote. Quorum is equal to 10% of the first full membership. At the time of opening up the voting, we had 665 members, eligible voting members. The quorum is, as such, 67 votes. Quorum was reached with 267 proxies received, which is 40%, designating me and my colleague Michael as the CFO as participants for the AGM. Participation limited at the AGM to the chair and the CFO. Privileges to speak limited to these two participants present holding proxies. Privilege to make motions and vote was restricted to the proxy holder for the limited agenda items. There was one motion for a proposed bylaws update received from the membership by the 12th of April 2023 deadline that was posted on the website. The continuing board members until 2024 are Serge, Audrey, Desiree, Olivier, and Trey. The board members with expiring terms are Michael, Mona, Sharif, Tracy, and Yuka. Thank you all for the outgoing board members for all the efforts throughout your term. We had 7 candidates, 7 board of directors candidates listed in random order. Yuka, Tracy, Carlos, Sharif, Mona, Dr. Amiruddin, Michael. Elections were held via online voting, so it's 100% online. Each team could vote for up to 5 candidates, casting by primary team rep. Voting period was May 8th. It started at 00 UTC and ended May 22nd at 2359 UTC. Results provided by Big Pulse to First Attorney Rick Walker and the Executive Director Chris Gibson. In the event of a tie, the first bylaws call for a random selection between the candidates tying. Rick Walker agreed to supervise the random selection and record it. The board will elect officers at their meeting today, June 5th. Official announcement of the officers will be made to the first team list by email. Voting results. Okay, First Attorney Rick Walker and Executive Director Chris Gibson reviewed and confirmed the election results on the 24th of May 2023. Election report was received by both. The first team monitoring the election received 1 piece of feedback. One liaison user reported that they were unable to vote as intended by the system because liaison members don't have the right to vote. First, Attorney Rick Walker and the Executive Director, Chris Gibson, determined the online voting and election process to have been fair and proper, and that the results stand. Here are the results of the elections in the order of the candidate receiving the most votes, Yuka, followed by Tracy, Michael, Carlos, Mona. Congratulations for the elected board members, and I think the results reflect a lot of participation. We had 267 votes, 40% of the members eligible to vote participated, so that's a good percentage comparable with previous years. Thank you to all the candidates. It's a reflection of the partnership within FIRST, the dedication to the organization, and the support to this open, inclusive process. Vote on the bylaws changes. I think it's a bit skewed here, but anyway.
On here it looks fine.
Yeah, here it looks fine, so I'll be using Chris's laptop. We had 208 votes, yes, for the change, which is 77.9%. Abstained 47 votes, which is 17.6%. No, 12 votes, which is 4.49%. So the total vote is 267, so motion passes. We have new bylaws. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Before we close the meeting, I think I want to say thank you, Sheriff, for serving on the board. I think I speak for all of us if I say it was a pleasure working with you, and I hope we can count on your support in the future. And with that, I move to adjourn the meeting.
First, before adjourning, thank you very much, Michael. It was a pleasure and a privilege to be part of the board and to serve as the chair of the board. And I hope that all the board, especially we had a very diverse board, serve the community the way you expect. And I wish the new board a lot of success moving forward. So, motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Start. Then we move to the first members update. We'd like to share with you collectively the activities that went on over the last year since the last AGM. And this is going to be participation from quite a few board members and staff, but reflects also participation from the FIRST community, members of committees and so forth. So it's a collective effort that goes beyond us. But we'll try to reflect upon this to the utmost extent. Welcome to this part of the conference. We will share with you some organizational updates, the activities report, then we have a chance for a Q&A session. Organizational update, Chris.
Thank you. Is it working? Yes, it's working. So I wanted to share with this, you may have picked up in the last sort of newsletter, but at our last board meeting in Tokyo, we started talking about strategy and where we wanted FIRST to be in 5 years. This doesn't affect our vision and mission. Our vision and mission have absolutely stayed the same, and we still firmly believe in this. But this is some of what we want to be perceived as by the rest of the world. So we want to be that recognized and trusted piece. We want to be creating value. You will be hearing a lot more of this because this gives me, as the executive director, how do I start framing the structure of the organization, if we like to start looking to hire people, etc. What's the direction I need to be working in? So this is really good for me. We had a really good 2-day session on what we want to do, how we want to do it. What are the blockers? What stops us getting there? And then what do we need to do to resolve those blocks so we can move forward? I hope you support them. If you have any thoughts on these, more than happy to take feedback. But this is where we got to. I personally think it's a really good set of strategic statements, and I'm looking forward to working with them. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Next, membership updates. So as of June 3rd, 2023, we have 679 full members. And our liaison membership is 127. New teams that joined since the last AGM in 2022, we have 70 new teams, a new record in terms of the increase in teams. We'd like to welcome them to the FIRST community. I hope that many of them would be present with us today. If not, then we look forward to their engagement with various channels, whether online, offline, on-site, or in regional meetings. We have 20 new liaison members since the last AGM, so this part is also growing, adding a lot of value to the FIRST community. I'd like to stop here and recognize the special effort of primary sponsors of new teams coming into FIRST. Being a part of the membership committee over the years, it is a special privilege to witness really how primary sponsors do and the secondary sponsors do in terms of work, engaging new teams, guiding them on how the process for applying and becoming part of the FIRST community. Incredible work, and we are happy to share with you a list of those who did, the work. Those are the teams who sponsored at least 2 or more. We agreed last time that we recognize, the top 4 contributors, but now we have ties, and that's why we ended up with a longer list. But I'm happy that we ended up with a longer list. We'd like to have more participation. I strongly encourage all of you to participate, to sponsor new teams. That adds value to FIRST. Reflecting back and actually navigating through the slides in terms of our growth, we will see how FIRST has increased in membership over the years, and that's a very special situation. Life is about, growing at the same time dropping teams. Dropping teams happened since 2022 due to a variety of reasons, including some teams were acquired or merged or simply didn't communicate with us. And we have a membership process that requires paying fees, membership fees with the due process. Those teams were dropped, 26 teams. We paused, the number is relatively higher than previous years because during COVID we paused, making the decision to drop teams if they have some hardship due to the pandemic. But we caught up with the numbers, and now we have, as was mentioned, and will be also shared with you about our membership directory. We try to be up to date when it comes to communication with the membership. We also have 4 liaison members who dropped because of a variety of reasons. This is a curve that I like a lot. Really, to have this histogram of the growth of FIRST, this is something to be proud of. We have reached, as I said, 679 teams. If you compare this, like just 6 years ago, FIRST has doubled in the last 6 years in terms of membership. So it took us from 1995 till around 2016, 17 to reach, the mark of 300 teams. But we doubled. We more than doubled now in the last 6 years. Remarkable growth. So I'd like to recognize really how this, resilient organization grew over the years. This has to do a lot with the dedication of a lot of the membership, with the different, officers on the board, and as well as committees who worked, to attract and to expand FIRST over the years. So I think that deserves some recognition, and we reached last year a mark of 100 countries. Now our members come from 105 countries, so we are expanding more. Hopefully will have an outreach that is totally, fully global. Our competition now is the United Nations. So thank you. So, membership committee update. I pass this to my colleague, Olivier.
Thank you, Sheriff. So regarding the membership committee, we've been doing quite a few things over the last year. First of all, we've been finalizing the site report template to make it easier for sponsors when they do their site visits. Updating also the sponsorship guide based on some of the feedback we got from sponsors. And also, we have been working on updating the proposal, creating a new category of membership. There's been some discussion, and we'll keep on doing that in the coming year. So I would like simply to thank especially Baiba Kashkina, the membership committee chair, for the work, and of course, all the other members of the membership committee that are listed below. As with every year, since for the last 7 years, you'll be able to find the annual report that has been updated a few minutes ago on the first web portal, and you should also be able to get it through the application. I do hope that all of you have been installing the first event app. You'll find a lot of things on it. So it covers with more detail than what we say today, all that the activities we've been performing over the 2022-2023 year. And of course, it's a document that you can download, and we greatly encourage you to share it with other members or other people in your organization, so they know better all our activities, and maybe give them a hint that it could be interesting to join our organization.
Okay, so this is the full statement on diversity and inclusion that Tracy was talking about this morning in her opening remarks. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can find it on our webpage. But I would like to draw your attention to the last piece of this, where it says that we recognize that achieving true diversity and inclusion is an ongoing journey. That is very important for us. So we would really like your comments and your questions on making this even better going forward. We want those to be directed to the diversity@first.org, or you can reach out to us. The statement was developed by the board, and we had a lot of feedback from our staff and also from the Women of First Special Interest Group. So we really want to thank everyone for helping us develop this one. But it's not finished. This is a guide for us going forward in this area, and we really want your feedback on it as well. For the annual report, this is mentioned, but there's also a longer description and description of what the Women of First Special Interest Group have been doing for the past year. So I really recommend that you read the annual report and read about that special interest group in there.
Next.
Hello. Just want to give a quick update on our progress with infrastructure over the past year. Obviously, last year in Dublin, we had a successful debut of using the app for a hybrid event model of having people attend in person, and also using the app for virtual. And I know a lot of you have really, I think, appreciated being able to replay sessions just about as soon as they're completed. We've had a few glitches this morning, but hope to get those cleaned up today and have everything running smoothly going forward. With the membership application, we've made a lot of progress over the past year. We've been working with the membership committee closely, and also have made some important updates there, including the incorporation of new SIM3 v2. We're excited to announce the release of new services. As you heard this morning, David announced at the opening remarks the CTF, the new permanent CTF service that we're going to have available to all members and for others to participate. And we're also releasing the CVSS V4 training, which the SIG has been very hard at work on over the past half a year or so, I think. And so we're excited to release that in a new learning platform that we're going to be using going forward. So if there's anybody out there who's doing first trainings and other workshops and things like that, if you're interested in turning these trainings into a module in this platform, we'd love to work with you on that. We've made some improvements to our first groups and for our SIGs and for our other groups, and we have some more work to do there, but we're excited about that. We've also been working on a data cleanup effort, so you'll see some messaging coming in the next, probably over the next month. We're going to start doing kind of regular messages to members just to make sure you're keeping your profile active and information updated. So if you have, certainly it helps to keep our directory accurate and useful for everybody. So if you get a chance, when you log into your profile, just check your other, there's a section there that says other communications, and you can put in if you have LinkedIn or Signal or a lot of different methods of communication. It helps for, if you wish to share that, for people to be able to get in touch with you. And then our big project over the past probably 6 to 8 months has been working on AWS migration, and we've made some really good progress there. So most of the on-premise first infrastructure will be moving over to AWS we hope to fully complete that project within the next couple of months. And we're excited about what we have ahead in store for the next year. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And with that, it's a pleasure to represent the financial numbers, financial overview. So first of all, the Forum of Incident Response and Security Teams, Inc., that's the full name of FIRST, is a 501c3, a not-for-profit, recognized by the US tax authorities. FIRST is incorporated in North Carolina in the US. And for those who want to know details, we had 2 sessions on the 24th of May where we dived deeper into the financial numbers. So the next 3 slides will just give you a short overview over the financial numbers. So these are the numbers for the financial year 2023. First had around 3.2 million in revenue, and we had total expenses of around 3.55 million, resulting in a change of net assets of around $350,000. That means that at the end of the year 2022, we had 2.17 million cash on net assets, which is 350,000 less than at the end of 2021. What did we do? So the board made the decision already in 2021 to invest in capabilities. So one of these capabilities was just on the stage. That's Dave, our infrastructure manager, and we're also investing in community and capacity building. So it's intentional that we have a negative change in net assets in 2022, and we also plan to have a negative change in net assets in the budget for 2023. From the governance side, we had a full financial audit in 2021 that was reported to the AGM last year, and we have a review for the 2022 numbers by the same company, Rogers & Company, that found no results, and that completes that audit we did last year. So we have a 3-year circle, we have a full audit, and then we have 2 years of reviews where the auditors just review the books and see if everything is okay. The growth, as we've seen, is continuing. So what are the focus areas for 2023 that we're currently working on? One thing is we changed our accounting So we now have 4 major classes or silos where we count our activities. One is the admin, as before. Then we have 2 new classes. One is one class where we account all the events, and the other is classes where we count all the capacity and community building activities. And the last one is the outreach class that was already existing. The reason for that is that we want to do a full cost accounting for the activities we do so that we, as a not-for-profit, can calculate our cost and offer these services at a cost to our members and the community. We're also focusing, together with the membership committee, on the structure of the membership fees. We are looking into grants for capacity building. And as most of you know, for 4 years, we have a so-called strategic reserve fund where we have money put aside in case a conference has to be cancelled in short notice without any chance to get the money back. And that was in a bank account, and now that the interest rates are rising, we invested then that into US Treasury. And with that, I think I hand over to Serge.
Yes, so since I joined the board I think 7 years ago, the world has decidedly turned kind of into a more polarized place. That was a bit too quick, but sorry. Never mind. And this has impact and affects our community, the community of incident responders. And states have discovered there is this thing called internet. They have found out this could be useful. It can be useful for many of the good things, but it is also useful to many states for bad things. So states have started to discuss on how should they behave in cyberspace. These discussions are ongoing. Right now there's 2 processes at the United Nations. One is about cybersecurity, where states agree on kind of what are the do's and don'ts that states should be doing. We feature prominently in there. One of the statements that states made, and all states agreed, is that CSIRTs are off limits. There's another process going on that talks about cybercrime, which at the United Nations level is a different thing from cybersecurity, but that's a different discussion. What's really important, though, is that the people that discuss this understand what the needs of this community is. And here's where FIRST comes in. We try to be present. In particular, Sharif went to the United Nations a couple of times, as did Chris, to present the views of and the needs of our community, so that states don't come up with kind of strange ideas about how the internet should be regulated or governed and whatnot. This is sometimes, if you're not really have the knack of it, boring work, but it's very, very important. So we've been really active on this one. There's many other things. If you're interested in this type of stuff, talk to either Sharif or myself. And what I'm really happy is that Sharif promised me to actually continue supporting FIRST in his capacity with his know-how and represent our view here at all these processes. So much for the policy stuff. Cyberspace is big these days. It's really, really super big. And we couldn't really do this alone. So we need partners, and we actually do have a lot of partners. You see the logos in the first row of all the partners where we have kind of intense collaborations, where we have memorandums of understanding, organizations and the people in these organizations that really help us do the work we want to do, keep our users secure. I'm really super happy that we actually have 2 new partners, and I'd like to take kind of a second or maybe half a minute to present them a little bit more. Maybe we start just on the left with the Open CSIRT Foundation. Don, maybe come up. The Open CSIRT Foundation is kind of the successor to GEA and TFC CERT. And it's very important for us that we continue working with this organization. That's the organization that maintains SIM3, the Security Incident Maturity Model. It's the organization that promotes the European teams. And the world needs to work with Europe, and Europe needs to work with the world. So I'm really happy to have a new memorandum of understanding with the Open CSIRT Foundation. A couple of words from you, Don.
Thank you, Serge. Yes, not quite new, because since July last year, TFC CERT, which of course is a very long existing community, primarily European teams, has found a new shelter in the Open CSIRT Foundation. And these ties which first already existed. But now indeed we have a new MOU, which is very important, and this talks about cooperation between OCF, including TFC CERT, about joint meetings, about trainings, about SIM3, and other ways that we can cooperate. And we're very happy that we signed the MOU more or less today. Pictures have been made, right, Sharif? Yeah, we will use this to further build on this cooperation together in the year ahead and after that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Don. Really excited about this. This week we also closed an MOU with an organization that few of you have ever heard, HD Center, or the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue. HD is active in regions where we don't usually go. It's active in conflicting regions where it tries to bring together parties in a conflict to kind of de-escalate this so that we can still continue saying there is no cyber war, because we don't want cyber war. I'm really happy to have Nader, who works for HD, here on the stage, and I'm really glad to have this MOU. Nader, you explain us a little bit what HD does and this.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. Actually, HD is an organization based in Geneva. It's founded in 1999. We are working with mediating conflict armies to make peace and to reduce human suffering. Cyber HD teams works on the building confidence and measures to reduce escalations and conflicts. As all of you know, that cyber operation is not only the mean of conflicts, but it's the source of conflicts. Trying to building the measures, to reduce the measures, timing up with the first, to have the joint interest, such capacity buildings, exercises, cyber drills, we can make everything safe and the cyber peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nader. So last but not least, a really big thank you to all our partners, all the organizations that work with us, that support our cause. And with that, I'd like to hand over to the next point, events. That's you.
Yes. Okay, so that's me. The graphic that you see now, that is the events. It's the conferences, symposia, and TCs that's been held the past year, including the annual conference in Dublin last June. As you can see, it's picked up again since the pandemic lockdown. All of these events, except for one, was either fully in person or hybrid. So it's good to see that we are somewhat back to normal. What you can also see is that there's a lot of events going on in Europe. We do have events in other continents and regions as well, but we would like more. So if there's anyone who wants to do a TC, reach out, and we can see how we can support and what we could do to make that happen. I also want to point out, so there's no event in the Latin America region, it seems like. That is because there was a symposia in May in 2022, and there will be one in October 2023. So it's just outside of the time frame for this graphic. So that's good. And if we want to go to the next one. So talking about upcoming events. These are the events planned for the next year, up until the next annual conference in Japan in June 2024. So as you can see, there's quite a lot happening. And these are not all. So we know that there will be at least one more announced just this week. So the QR code that you see on the screen, that's a link to our event page on our website. So we really recommend paying attention there and seeing if there's any of these events that you want to attend. Then it's the education and training program. That has also picked up again, luckily, after the pandemic lockdown. We have been delivering trainings in Europe, Africa, and in the Caribbean, in addition to the trainings that we do at the annual conference and the symposia. We have added new trainers to our trainer pool. That is really important for us to have trainers. And we also want trainers from more regions, because it is, unfortunately, most of our trainers are based in Europe and in the US, but we would like trainers from other regions as well. So please reach out if you want to be a trainer, also in the regions where we have a lot of representation from before, but also from other regions. They mentioned the CVSS standard and the new online training, and this program has been supporting the development of this training as well. So we're really looking forward to releasing it and having people using it.
Oh, so in terms of the recognition program, we do have the First Instance Response Hall of Fame, and for those of you who came to Dublin conference last year, you might remember the luncheon session we had to remember and also celebrate the induction of past inductees during the years of the conference where we didn't have the in-person events. And then for 2023, there was also a nomination process opened for another Hall of Fame. And then the committee, together with the board, decided to introduce Andrew Cormack to the Hall of Fame. Moving forward, we have a Hall of Fame session planned for Wednesday during the morning session to share some stories about Andrew. And also moving forward, the board and also the committee members are working together to make this nomination and selection process even better process for the future years. So that's what we have done for the past year about the Hall of Fame.
So first recognizes the need to integrate security teams from unrepresented countries or regions into the global incident response community. The first fellowship program provides assistance to such teams for a 5-year period to enable their ability to participate in FIRST events and activities. So we currently have 21 fellowship teams. There were 2 new teams accepted into the program in 2023, so congratulations to the National Sea Certs from Mozambique and from the Bahamas. There are 15 fellowship team members present here in Montreal, so please be on the lookout for them and introduce yourselves and help them into the integration process into the community. We want to thank all of the mentors that have been working with the fellowship program participants. This is the second year that we've participated in the mentorship effort. So those listed on the slide, thank you for participating this year, and let us know if you're interested in mentoring a team in this coming year.
Buildings really our opportunity as FIRST and the FIRST community to support the growth of capable partners, capable teams, and capable communities globally. This is an effort that really kind of kicked off in earnest in 2022, but it's building on kind of the legacy of work that FIRST and the community has done around education, training, good practice development, fellowships, and a lot of the other great stuff that's already been mentioned by the group. For the last year, since we kicked it off, we've been focusing on really strengthening the foundation of work that we do that will allow us to be more ambitious and build bigger programs. So really focus on internal partnerships or internal processes and building partnerships to kind of solidify that basis that will support us and do the groundwork to support us for bigger initiatives. One of the biggest things that we're working on, it's not ready for launch just yet, is a effort for a sponsorship and funding mechanism. Obviously, to do bigger, better things, we do need funding. So that's one main piece of focus that we've had that will let us do more work better in more places. So really, if anyone's interested, the whole program, as it has been since the beginning, is driven by the community. So if you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, in volunteering, whether as a trainer or a mentor, or providing input for developing new materials or sharing content, or if you want to partner with us to develop projects to help build the community, I'll be around, and you can see my email there, I guess. So yeah, look forward to working with all of you and having a chat.
Thanks, Clay.
And so now, last but not least, the special interest groups. They have been very active over the last year as well, again. And this time we have 2 new SIGs that we could welcome. And it's the Human Factors and Security and the NetSec SIG that have been introduced here. So if you want to learn more about what has been done in those groups over the past year, you best go tomorrow to the SIG update sessions. They are all happening at the same time in the 3 different rooms from 10:15 to 10:50. And please check out the program, because we have had to split them up, and so you need to decide before where you want to go. But all of the sessions are recorded, so you can also check out afterwards if you would have missed something else. And I want to thank all of the SIG co-chairs and the participants for all of the work that they've done. And I think, Trey, you've got an update about the standards.
Yes, so there have been some other developments that we're not going to go in at this time. They're all described in detail in the annual report, which I believe is out now. I think, I'm not sure. So we're going to have a BOF to talk about sort of our future plan for engagement with external standards bodies. Are there some that we should be working with and aren't? Are there draft standards efforts that are going on right now where our community should be weighing in during comment periods and consultations, but where we're not currently being represented? What do we do about standardizing things like machine learning models? And what do we do to better support like a full life cycle of standards development for standards emerging from the SIGs at first? So it's going to be in this room after the lightning talks on Tuesday, 18:15 to 19:15. It's in the program. Thank you very much to Tracy and the staff for making this happen last minute.
Before opening up, just 1 minute, I'd like to really reiterate what Desiree mentioned about thanking all the participants in the special interest groups. This is a very special community within FIRST. I strongly encourage especially the newcomers to engage with the special interest groups. The invitation that Desiree extended here, and Trey, it's very important to be engaged. This is our community, and this is actually one of the bridges that we have to engage with non-members of FIRST, although we'd like everyone to become a member anyway. But anyway, unless you have a special interest group in mind, reach out to everyone and to know more. So thanks again. So we now open up for a Q&A session. If you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, comments. Oh, no questions.
Oh, come on.
Probably with all those activities, probably you have something in mind to ask about, right? If you are too tired, we understand, but I think we still have a few days ahead of us. So feel free to reach, to anyone from the SIGs, from the committees, from the board. FIRST is a very special organization where really actually, once you are in the community, it's really a friendly community. You realize that you can reach out to anyone, anytime. So any questions or any suggestions? I don't see any hands. There are a few microphones around here. In which case, then let's conclude the session. And I'd like to remind you that we have sponsors reception shortly, to start shortly. And recharge for tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention and participation.